TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy, business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Eldercare Services of DeKalb County, safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdekalb.org. And welcome to TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast number 12. Very excited to have with us today from the 3rd Ward of Sycamore, Marvin Barnes. Marv, how are you doing this morning?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for listening through the years. We appreciate it, too. And we also have the oak tree, the stalwart of the WLBK of our podcast, Dan Lynch. Dan, how you doing this morning?
Better than I deserve.
All right. Hey, I heard that somewhere. Yeah, and Marv, I want to ask you about, of course, you were a write-in candidate in the 3rd Ward. We're going to get to the news here in just a minute, but we want to introduce our guest, and you ran unopposed. You tell me a great story, if you could, about a former mayor in Sycamore. You promising to run for mayor, and you made that promise a couple times, didn't you?
Yes, I originally, God bless his soul, Mayor Red Johnson at one point made me promise that someday I would run for mayor, and I promised that to him, and then years down the road, another mayor who I respected also, may God bless his soul also, Ken Mundy, said he knew about my promise to Mayor Red and said, you have to make a promise to me that someday you'll run for mayor. So yeah, I made 2 promises to 2 mayors that I looked up to.
And then out of respect for Steve Brazier, you said that Steve, when he wanted to run again this last time, you said, you go ahead and...
I felt he deserved, the first time in 21, he had been on the council for 12 years and deserved to run for mayor. And then when he decided to run again in 25, I thought he's done an excellent job as a mayor, and he deserved it again. So,
and Jeff Fisher was the 3rd Ward Alderman, and you saw in the paper, actually, that he was not going to run, and then you said, hey, that's an opportunity for me.
That is correct. And actually, it was some encouragement from Mayor Steve Brazier also. So that's why I decided to run as a run-in. And I was fortunate enough to get enough votes to win as a write-in candidate.
Yeah, we were talking beforehand, and nothing ashamed of 84 write-in votes. And, when it comes to that means people actually took the time to write your name into a ballot. So 84 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think it was 83. But
83, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, so it was 83 more votes than I thought I would get.
And before we get to the news, something you and I were talking about was the videotape. We talked about this last show, Steve, Dan, about videotaping the city council meetings in Sycamore, and the city council voted against that. But you told me there's a gentleman who does that kind of independently.
Yeah, we didn't really vote against it. There was no, that we were asked from an audience to visitor what we did. And it was just more of an expense type thing. But from the advisement of our city attorney also, there's nothing against somebody who wants to come in and videotape it. So there is a gentleman that comes in every council meeting, sets up his little tripod with his phone and records it, and then broadcasts this on YouTube, I think it is.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we have no problem with it. It was just more of an expense type thing to be able to go back and edit it, and it's just another expense that we didn't think the city needed at this time. So.
And Dan, you were saying there's somebody at DeKalb that job is to videotape the city council meetings, right? And get them on YouTube?
Right, they have a city staff. I think same with the county does too. I think I've talked to the person with the county. Maybe I'm getting the DeKalb person mixed up with the county.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I know some other communities, they actually employ somebody that kind of is their communication type person that does all electronics. And I think the feeling was the city just didn't want to have that right now, but we welcomed anybody who wanted to, and there was somebody who's at the meeting every time.
Well, one of the issues we had here in DeKalb, and what do you think about this, was a person who maybe not physically be able to attend the meeting, watch it on the YouTube. Is that enough for you for an alderman to do that, or do you think the alder people should be there at the council meeting?
Oh yeah, I'm a very I don't believe in remote.
Okay.
Maybe during COVID there was a reason.
Right.
Other than that, no. If you're going to be a council member or actually any kind of governing body, you better.
You got to show up.
You got to show up, and there are times where you're not able to, and that could be an excuse. But I don't believe in remote voting and that stuff.
All right, that's Marvin Barnes, Third Ward Alderman from Sycamore. We talked to him some more. But Dan, what do you got for news?
Well, and
I'm sorry.
I have one footnote. I worked at a radio station, and we would go to the council meetings with the Marty transmitter unit and plug into their electronic board.
Oh, really?
And we broadcast it twice a month, and it was sponsored by the Downtown Business Association.
Okay.
But this was back when there were radio stations that actually served the community.
Yes. Good point there,
To
Dan.
that point, I'll just say, God bless you both. I was a huge WLK fan in the morning, listening to both of you. So, and I'm not the only one. There are so many people in the community that do miss you, both of you.
That means a lot to us, Marv. Thank you so much for that. Wow. All right. Dan, what do you got for news?
A 58-year-old is accused of exposing his parts to a woman at a car wash. According to arrest documents in late July, a lady was vacuuming her vehicle at a Rapid Rinse car wash on DeKalb Avenue in Sycamore.
I thought it was going to be Flash Car Wash.
Her sister informed her that the man in the next bay was sitting in his car, ogling her. The victim told police the man then exited his car and with apparently his shorts rolled up, exposed his genitalia. She told police the male then cleaned his car for several minutes. The victim presented a photo and video of the ordeal to the police, and police confirmed what had happened. Police recognized the accused as Rosendo Montez of Sycamore. Police spoke with Montez, but he didn't admit to the act. Now, Montez is no stranger to this behavior. He was convicted in McHenry County in 2019 for public indecency and lewd exposure. He was also convicted in DeKalb County in 2005 for public indecency and lewd exposure.
Wow. Well, in this day and age, you're on camera everywhere, so if you're going to do something like that, you better be ready to face the consequences because odds are you're being videotaped. So.
Yeah, and it's just bizarre behavior.
Yes, that really is. Let's just leave that one alone. Just leave that one where it is right there. Now, the roundabout. The big question, of course, is a proposed roundabout here in DeKalb, but they just recently completed one on the NIU campus, and it's funny. I don't know, Marv, how much time you spend on Facebook and reading comments from people. There are always a lot of snide remarks, a lot of the same people you see commenting about stuff. But
Right.
I don't know. First, what are your thoughts about roundabouts? Do you like roundabouts?
I think roundabouts serve a purpose in certain areas. I think, but I don't see the purpose there.
Okay, okay.
And I've seen Wisconsin has more roundabouts than I think I've seen in a long time. But there are times there are roundabouts out in the middle of the country, and I don't understand that. But I've also been in congested areas, even before roundabouts became a topic around here in California. They have roundabouts a lot down in the San Diego area, and I've seen that where it really serves a purpose. So in congested areas, and where you had a lot of traffic coming both ways, I really do see a purpose in the roundabout. So I'm not against roundabouts. I just think they need to be in the right place.
That's a very honest answer. I appreciate that. Yeah, we had Justin Carlson, one of the aldermen here from DeKalb, and who did that for a living, and he talked about the safety aspects with it's actually safer, and then we didn't think about the traffic lights. There's no traffic lights to concern yourself with, right? So
yeah, and like you said, if you travel from San Diego up to LA area, you'll run into in those communities, La Jolla, and that was the first time I ever ran into roundabouts. And there's quite a few in Indiana. We have a son lives in Indiana, and they're used there. Those are all congested areas.
okay.
And that's the first time I learned how to drive in a roundabout. It was out in California.
My sister lived in Boston for a few years, and that was where I first learned about the roundabouts.
Oh,
I guess
okay.
they're pretty intense out there in Boston.
Yeah.
But so here's that $1.8 million spent, and in time for the kids to start classes here. And Dan, you think that is kind of in a remote area where there's really not that congestion?
Well, when school's in session and you're
Well, yeah, that's a
driving
different
in
area.
there
Yeah.
are loads of pedestrians in that area. It's kind of near my church, so I do frequent that intersection a lot. Two things, two benefits of roundabouts: improve traffic flow, so you're not as backed up as far. It flows better, And according to a police chief I interviewed years ago, he said they're safer, less accidents with roundabouts.
That's what I hear. Everybody's just foreseeing people driving right through this, and I don't think that's going to happen.
That may be true. The thing is everybody has to get acclimated to driving in the roundabout.
Right.
You know, and then I go in a couple of roundabouts in Indiana where there were 2 lanes going around.
That's tricky.
That is.
That was.
Yeah.
And I happened to get in the wrong lane. and I had a couple birds flew at me out the windows.
So there will be a learning curve, no pun intended. But
The problem, building them takes forever.
Yeah.
Several months, configuring them, and that takes a long time. So, but I'm in the minority, but I'm excited about this one.
All right, pretty cool. I don't want to go ride my bike over there just to see what that's like. So that's in time for the kids in school. What else you got there, Dan?
A DeKalb transient is accused of injuring a DeKalb police officer, according to arrest documents on August 14th. Just after 4 a.m., police responded to the 700 block of Russell Road, which is kind of nearby this roundabout, for a domestic violence call. 35-year-old Sharquita Garrett told police she got into a fight with her sister. Garrett began to have a panic attack, and when police attempted to calm her down a bit, she bit the officer's bicep, causing it to bleed. Sharquita is now charged with 2 counts of battery and aggravated battery to an officer.
Wow.
And police put up with a lot of this.
Yeah, we talked about that. We've had Chief Bird here from the DeKalb Police Department and Chief Winters from Sycamore talking about domestic violence and just how bad it can get. And oftentimes we know when the officer shows up, sometimes they become the bad guy because the couple then turns on them. I don't think it's true anymore. Do you know, Dan? If it used to be that one of the people had to be arrested. If you got a call on a domestic violence call, one of the 2 people had to be arrested. But I don't think that's true anymore. But I don't know that for a fact. Do you know that or not?
I don't know that. I mean, there's always an aggressor.
Yeah.
But or maybe more than one aggressor.
But yeah, I think they did away with that where they'll arrest one of the 2. And so often you see them turn that on the officer, which is not a good thing. But boy, that's scary stuff there, right there. And now she has an assault on an officer against her, too, so that's not good.
Yeah. She's from Chicago, by the way.
All right. We also have Marvin Barnes with us, too, the 3rd Ward Alderman from Sycamore. And I was asking you off the air, Marvin, about the fact that there's 2 council people in Sycamore for each district there, and we're kind of kicking that around a little bit. But it's you say it's kind of unique. I don't know, Dan. Do you know any other where they have 2 older people in each district there?
Yeah.
And it's not unique to Sycamore then.
They're bigger towns. I mean, it's just the way they lay them out, and of course the city, the body of government can vote on that and change that anytime they want, I guess. But
now, Marv, you have two people in the 3rd Ward. Tell us the other alderwoman.
Her name is Nancy Koppel.
Nancy Koppel, right? Now, do you guys work hand in hand on stuff, or how does that work?
We talk, and we try to feed off each other, and if there's if I have a complaint or she does, we try to inform each other, so we're both aware of it.
So you don't divide the ward up between the 2 of you?
No, not really. No,
okay.
No, and which is a good thing, because people should feel comfortable in calling either one of us or both of us. We had an incident the other day where we were both called on the same issue. So
can we ask what that was?
It had to do. Well, it was passed on Monday night with kind of a amendment or regulation for these tasting rooms and how much alcohol you can serve in a tasting.
Okay.
So and so there was a question. Concern from one of the liquor stores, and who doesn't have a tasting room, Lundin Liquors. So,
okay.
And I can understand that. So.
Sure. Now we have a similar issue here in DeKalb where we have a marijuana dispensary actually too, but one wants to have edibles, much like you do with a whiskey tasting or a beer tasting.
Right.
And that has been approved, I believe, hasn't it, Dan?
Yes.
So yeah. So
Excellent.
Yeah. So and you can understand, if you own a business that affects that, you'll want to know about it.
Sure.
Give your piece about it.
Exactly. All right. Very good. All right. Now, when you were running for office, you talked about industrial growth.
Yes.
And of course, lowering property taxes. So we know we have the highest taxes in the country. At least maybe Texas is slightly ahead of us. But What do you see on that? Because, what about all the growth here in DeKalb? Is it bleeding over into Sycamore?
I'm jealous. Our current city manager, Michael Hall, when Sycamore hired him and when he came into Sycamore, he didn't even know he was saying it, but it was true. He said, in one of his first speeches, he said that Sycamore is a bedroom community, and it is.
Now define that for our listeners, if you would.
Bedroom community is where people come in, basically have a home, a bedroom, live there, but work elsewhere.
So work elsewhere. Okay.
Because Sycamore used to be what I would call an industrial town, like DeKalb. I used to have a lot of our industry. Sycamore was an industrial town, but we've lost a lot of industry. We still have, God bless them, a few good industries that have been around with us for a long time, but we need more. Historically, back many years ago when I was president of the school board, I had the pleasure of attending a president's school board conference put on by the Illinois Association of School Boards. One of the things I learned in there, for a tax base to be the goal for a tax base for lower taxes was where you have 50% of your taxes are residential, 25% commercial, 25% industrial. That's the goal. Back in the early 90s, when I was president of the school board in Sycamore, we were 60% residential, 20% commercial, 20% industrial. Now, Sycamore is 70% residential.
Is that right?
25% commercial, 5% industrial.
Wow.
And I was in industry in Sycamore for 40 years, so I have an industrial background. And the big thing is industry not only brings jobs to Sycamore, so people don't have to commute out of Sycamore, good paying jobs, but it also, an industry does not impact the schools. It does not impact the Parker Street in a negative way. All they do is pay taxes, which then offset the residential part. And people's taxes then go down, property taxes.
Those are great numbers there, Marv. Appreciate it. Off the top of his head, I should point out, too. All right, Dan, what do you got for another news story, my friend?
All right. Navigate.
But that's my goal.
That's a great goal.
And my goal to bring more new industry into Sycamore.
And you work for the Sycamore Container Company, right?
Yes, Sycamore Container.
I love how it says his work record is retired in 2020 and then retired again.
Retired once.
They dragged you back in.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Exactly. And so asked me to come back. I came back and we made some changes again. And then I said, well, not forever. Just to train some new people. So I did. And then they finally said, okay, if you want to retire, you can retire again. And I did. So thank you.
I worked for the Sycamore Container Company, but I can't. Hey, I'll be here all week. Thanks. Dan, what do you got for you?
A Cortland man is accused of uttering racial slurs in downtown DeKalb. According to police, on August 19th, at around 2:45 p.m., police responded to the 200 block of East Locust Street. A white male named Ryan Betzinger, 33, is accused of threatening a Hispanic female with a knife. A black male named Darian O'Neill yelled at Betzinger, telling him to leave her alone. O'Neill told police that Betzinger called him using a racial slur. Police report that O'Neill picked up an aluminum cane and struck Betzinger in the head.
Oh, my.
Betzinger pulled out a knife and disobeyed police as they tried to arrest him, and he continued with the racial epithets towards O'Neill. Now, O'Neill is also facing a charge for battery. Police charged Betzinger with disorderly conduct, resisting an aggravated assault, also a hate crime, which is a felony.
Wow. Now, the hate crime because of the racial slurs, right, that were involved?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't know. Marv, did you ever watch Cops when that was on? I know they have a new show now, Police Live, and you watch these people just bury themselves. They're already in trouble, and then they'll resist arrest and do something just
Sometimes I just sit there and shake my head.
I don't. It's just really
You know what you're doing.
nothing else to be said at that point. It's just, wow. Boy, those are amazing stories that you have, Dan. Jeez, sadly. And I'll lighten things up here with the Heartland Bank. Now, they're going to get $83,000 in DeKalb City aid. Now, do you guys have TIP in Sycamore? I don't know whether you do or not, Marv.
Yeah, we have.
So you have
Yes.
TIP, and so in this case, where a bank, a lot of people are upset online, everybody's saying, oh, the bank getting free money and everything like that, but, they're building a new bank in DeKalb, and the city's helping them do that. What do you think about that?
I think anytime you try not to give too much away, but for example, we were talking earlier, the industrial area of growth down in the south part of Chicago. The DeKalb. When you look at that, sometimes you have to short-term give some things away to help encourage it, but it pays off in a long time. And
Well, DeKalb did that, right, Dan? They waived, I think, the first year of
Right.
property taxes,
Right.
and
Sycamore, if we needed to do that, we would do the same thing. So I think there was some encouragement, same with like bringing Meyer into Sycamore, as I learned when I got on the council.
okay.
So I think you need to do that kind of stuff, because if you don't, other communities are going to do that. So
Now that's interesting. When the Meyer, you mentioned it. Now, was there kickback from Jewel and the other grocery stores in the area about that?
I can't answer that.
Okay.
I don't know all those specifics.
Okay.
But I know there was something with Meyer, but it was short term,
Okay.
and now Meyer's there for long term, and Sycamore benefits in the long run. So
There you go. Very good.
it's that short term pain for long term gain.
Very good.
My son likes to ride that little horse at the Meyer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ridden that TD, but
Oh yeah.
it's a good time.
All right. What you got there?
Two DeKalb teens were arrested after a high-speed chase in Ogle County on August 12th, just after 4 p.m. Ogle County deputies conducted a traffic stop on a stolen vehicle, the 2500 block of South 251. During the stop, the vehicle took off. After a short pursuit, the vehicle crashed in a field near 251 and East Twombly. The driver, a 17-year-old male, was charged with possession of a stolen vehicle, aggravated fleeing to elude, and property damage over $300. Also driving on a suspended license, fleeing to elude, and speeding 35 miles per hour over the limit. The passenger, a 16-year-old, was charged with possession of a stolen vehicle. Both youngsters were taken to Rochelle Community Hospital, where they were treated with minor injuries. The passenger was released to a parent. I would like to have seen how that went.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially if it was an old school parent.
Right.
And the driver was taken to Kane County Juvenile Detention Facility, pending a court appearance.
Now, when we hear a slew of charges like that, it's just they pick one? Is that what they normally do? Like, for instance, that kid won't be charged with all that. He'll probably plea bargain and take to one of those offenses.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on the...
He's so young at 17, but then he'll be charged as an adult, I'm assuming. Stealing,
Yeah, this 17-year-old's got, driving on a suspended license.
yeah.
Sounds like they had priors.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Right.
I guess it depends on the track that the public defender will take as far as charges go.
But now, Marv, when you hear that, you think about the 15-year-old. So here, a young man who's right at that cusp of, going to go one way or another, and a great learning lesson here if you could do that, right?
Correct. Yeah, I think
we all did. I did.
we all
stupid
reflect
stuff.
back
Yeah,
on something that we did, and if you learn from it, then that's a good thing.
That was your mother's adage, you said, right? Learn something
Exactly.
new every day, and
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. My God bless her soul, my mother was a kindergarten teacher in Sycamore for 30 years, and one thing I always tell people is that it was kindergarten at home also, and my mother wanted me to learn something new every day. She always told me that. Even as an adult, don't forget, I want you to learn something new every day.
Well, Dan's got 6 beasts at home, and I only say that because he says that. But they're homeschooling, and it's incredible how much they can learn, right, Dan? Nowadays to homeschool, you have access to the library here, for instance.
Yeah.
Your lovely wife Maria has access to a lot more information, don't they, for the kids?
Yeah, I brought 3 of my pups with.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But in the morning, I'm getting ready for work. It's 6:45, and 2 of my kids are on the couch, each with their laptops. and headphones,
Oh, wow.
taking their online courses.
Yeah, so you can't, it's okay.
So it's not easy.
No, I bet not.
I bet not.
But they're doing good. I mean, it's different from when I was a kid.
Well, I remember everything I've read about homeschooling is that you guys are like way ahead of the schools because you teach all the time, right? I mean, you don't do a summer break, do you, per se?
No, we plug away through the summer.
You do? Okay. Because, right, Marv, they say the kids kind of lose a little, right, in the summertime?
Yep, exactly. And, when, as a side note, if I recall from your years at WLBK, you went to parochial school, I think, did you?
So, Queen of All Saints.
I went to public school in Sycamore. I had many friends that attended St. Mary's School and in elementary school. And Sycamore has a very, very good school system, but my St. Mary's friends were always ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother, even being a school teacher, said that she found the same thing.
Well, and the discipline and respect that I saw, from the Catholic school, because they did put the fear of God into us. We did want to, but you wanted to be respectful towards people, and that's something.
And to Dan's point, if it's done properly, they'll probably be, chances are, possibly ahead of the kids that are the same age.
Sure, sure, yeah.
Yeah, it all depends on the circumstance.
All right, now the city of Zach Scott, what is it? You and I were trying to get the name of the Zach Gill, right? Who was the former?
Yes, Zach Gill.
Zach Gill. We couldn't think of his name, but right now.
I enjoyed working with Zach, but yeah.
Yeah, you said he was always forthright with his answers and stuff, right?
He just always answered my calls and answered all my questions. He was real pleasant for me to work with.
But the city of DeKalb is hiring a city engineer. Here's the kind of scratch we're talking about: $140,000 to $163,000 a year for overall leadership, management, and administration of the engineering division of the Public Works Department, including training, budget, planning, policy and procedures, special projects, and technical duties. So there you have it. It's $140,000 to $163,000.
I'm not going to say that's not good money.
Well, you better not.
But nowadays, when you're paying straight rate for everything, if you're making $100K,
that used to be a lot. It still is to me.
The perception when I was young was that you were rolling in money, and that's not the case.
Well, when we were kids, we thought a $100,000 house was a big, expensive house. Wow, $100,000. Now I go by these sites starting at $350,000, starting at $400,000. Like, what?
And that's a major skill set. A civil engineer for a city.
Yeah,
that's a big skill set.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
A lot going on there.
Sycamore is a good one, and I've learned over the years, boy, it is a valuable position.
Now, Marv, we see here that you were obviously with the Sycamore School District, and they were president at one point. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a little bit of controversy right now in Sycamore. I know you're probably limited to what you could say or not say about this, but can you talk a little about what's going on with Steve Weiler? I interviewed Steve Weiler when he first came to town, and boy, what a fantastic guy. People don't know he actually drove the bus when during COVID. They were short with the buses there, and I don't know what the rest of the story is, but what are your thoughts about that? And what about the transparency? Because I love Mike DeVito Jr. Matter of fact, he's going to join us here in 2 weeks on this show. Mm-hmm. But in terms of transparency and what you can share with the public during something like this,
I respect. I agree. The few times I dealt with Steve Wilder, same way. There was obviously something going on behind the scenes that we were not privy to. But I think it's important, from what I read, was that it was a mutual agreement. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what was going on, and maybe someday it'll come out. But I do respect Michael DeVito's position of only saying a certain amount, and I think people have to respect the school district side and Mr. Wilder's side of confidentiality. Mm-hmm. Whatever they mutually agree to, I think we have to respect that. Again, back in 1990, when I was president of the school board, we went through the same thing. We had to change superintendents. We had to let one go.
I was going to ask you if that happened while you were president of the school board. It did. Okay.
Yes. And I was the president, and I was directly involved. And so you have to respect confidentiality. And I totally understand that.
Now, who were the superintendents then? Was that Wayne Reason? Am I going back too far? No, that was DeKalb.
Yeah.
Or do you remember? It's already,
his name, I just had his name and now I can't
That's
remember.
right. That happens to me all the time, though.
But his replacement was Dr. Bob Hanna.
Okay.
Was our assistant superintendent.
Oh, I know Diane quite well. No, his lovely
Yes.
wife. So yeah, okay, very cool.
Yeah.
And no regrets about your time on the school board?
No, not at all. It was probably one of the most rewarding things I ever did in my life. I'm glad I did that. As you know, it's a volunteer. There's no pay.
There's a great story I know where I got it buried in my notes here where apparently Marv was called in the middle of the night, like around midnight or 12:30, and the guy started to say, "Hey, I pay your salary. What's going on?" And you calmly, how did you respond to that, Marv?
It's a true story. I didn't know you knew that. So, yes, in fact, I told the story at one day at a Rotary Club in the last year. So, I had his little Johnny or Susie, I get this call in the middle of the night. And it was like midnight, 12:30. And, I got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to work. And the phone rings. Well, the phone rings, being that I was, at the time, the plant manager of our box plant. If I get a call at midnight, it means usually, God forbid, somebody got hurt or something happened on the box plant. So I answer the phone. Turns out it was a guy who said his little Johnny or Susie got sent to the principal's office. And I said, "Sir, you know what time it is?" And he said, "Yes, I do. I just got home. I'm working from second shift. My wife just told me." And I said, "Well, I would appreciate if you call me during normal hours." And he said, "I pay your salary." And he says, "I pay your salary, so I'm going to call you anytime in the middle of the night." And I said, "Sir," I said, "I don't get paid for what I do." And there was this dead silence. And he said, "What'd you say?"
Took the wind right out of the sails.
I said, "This is volunteer." I said, "I volunteered to do this." And it was quiet again. He goes, "Are you nuts?" And I said, "Yeah, sometimes I think I am when I get called at 12:30 at night about this." And then a total change. He went from being adversarial to apologizing and said, "I'm very, very sorry. What can I do?" And so I said, "Well, follow the chain of command." And I said, follow the chain of command. If you're not happy there, feel free to call me. I never heard from him again.
Is that right?
But yeah, true story. It's my favorite story.
All right, Danny, that's something else. What do you got, buddy?
Just one more. Marv worked in industry. Richardson Electronics, remember that company?
I do.
Yeah. They are taking advantage of state incentives to expand its manufacturing headquarters in Kane County. Governor Pritzker said Richardson would invest $8.5 million over the next 4 years with some support from the Reimagining Energy and Vehicles in Illinois program. The project is designed to develop next-generation battery energy storage system technologies, and is expected to create 54 new jobs.
Wow.
So my question for Marvin is, will that come with strings?
I probably haven't. I don't know. I'm not sure, but they're a great company. Many, many years ago, they were a customer of ours at Sycamore Containers. And so I got a chance to tour that several times. And early on, when these, I don't know if they ever got the contract, but they were looking to have a contract with these EV power stations. So I don't know if they ever got that contract, but they're a great company. And I was very pleased when I read that they're being rewarded for that. So
Where does Sycamore stand with electric vehicles? Do you know, in terms of?
I don't know if they've been approached or where they are standing.
Okay, all right, very good. I also want to mention, Dan's kids take karate in DeKalb here now. The Sal's BJJ joined the DeKalb Chamber? DeKalb Chamber staff ambassadors, board members, committee members welcome Sal's BJJ to the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. Sal's is a complete mixed martial arts gym offering youth and adult classes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh,
you're all over that, right, Dan?
Yeah, don't tell my kids. They'll join.
Wrestling, Muay Thai, you know with that? Boot camp fitness and boxing. A lot of kids were straightened out with boxing. That's along with the fully equipped strength and conditioning area. That's at 126 South 4th Street, Unit C in DeKalb. So welcome, Sal.
Yeah. No, I was just telling my kids about Sonny Liston. I was telling them that story. You remember Sonny Liston?
Oh, sure, yeah. supposedly took a dive against Muhammad Ali, but they never proved that.
Yeah.
If you watch that fight, there's no way that the mystery right hand. But what about Sonny Liston? What's the story? I don't know.
Oh, he died at 40 or 38.
That's tragic, yeah.
And when he won the heavyweight champion of the world, he came back to Philadelphia, his adopted hometown. Nobody greeted him at the airport.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Because Joe Louis, who gave up many of his purses to the army during the war effort, he died penniless too. It's just so sad. One of the greatest champions, if not one of the greatest champions ever. But he donated all that money during the causes, and then realized once he stopped boxing, he had no income coming in at all. It's just really sad.
I was just telling my kids how boxing really doesn't exist anymore. Really, not like it used to.
I used to be able to. Who was the heavyweight champion? I always knew who the heavyweight champion was. I have no idea.
But jiu-jitsu is awesome. I mean, that's a very popular martial art.
And you must feel great that your kids will know how to defend themselves. I mean, they're not going to go around wilding, but they can defend themselves if they have to.
Yeah, I hope so. I would have liked to have taken something like that. Because you learn respect, discipline.
Yep.
Well, the first thing they teach is, right, don't use it. Don't use it just to use it.
Right.
Just kind of sit on that at your little lace in the hole, right?
Right. So I would have loved to have done that.
Oh, me too.
Plus, it kind of helps your self-esteem.
Yeah, for sure. Let's turn to community calendars. We kind of, Marv, we try to emulate the morning show that we used to do. Of course, we always had the community calendar. Personal friend of mine, Brian Klatt, has been named the Grand Exalted Leader of the Elks. This is the National Grand Exalted Leader. Do you know Brian at all, Marv?
From many years ago. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a great guy. He and his lovely wife, Sue.
Very involved.
Yeah, well, this is the upper echelon, too.
Yeah.
And you find out what...
Always been very involved.
Yeah, so Brian, congratulations. I'm going to try to get him on the show. I get the Elk magazine, and the president's always out here shaking hands with this guy, and they're out, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to corral him to do a podcast, but congratulations to Brian Klatt. Mm-hmm. And we're also doing a suicide prevention show. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Mark, but we used to do it on the radio station, and we're doing it now on the podcast. And Students' Art Show is coming. This is Sunday, September 1st at the Egyptian Theater. The DeKalb County Mental Health Board and Northwestern Medicine's Ben Gordon Center of Sycamore encouraged the DeKalb County youth to participate in the first student art show, Canvas of Hope. The event will kick off September 5th at the Egyptian Theater in DeKalb. Any DeKalb youth age 12 and up is welcome to participate. So, kids, they convey so much information through their art. Well, you must know that with your kids, right, Dan? When they just draw something and you can interpret a lot from those drawings, can't you? Yeah. Not always,
Right. But art is, it's good for introverted. Some of my introverted kids. I loved art as a youngster.
How do you encourage them? Do you, because in school, of course, we had art class. How do you get the kids? You let them just do what they want to do in terms of art? Or?
Well, we had an art teacher come to our. She majored in art. At the kitchen table, she would instruct two of my children, and she really helped them.
I bet.
In a lot of ways. So.
Oh, that's great. That's kind of old school. I love that. Her making a house call.
Yeah.
And also, again, part of the suicide awareness, in honor of Suicide Awareness Month, which is September. The second annual Cornhole for a Cause tournament will be held at the pub in Hinckley, Illinois. Do you know the pub at all, Mark? In Hinckley?
I've been by it.
Right on 30. Right on Route 30 there.
How are your cornhole skills? Are you a cornhole player? Or?
No, not very good.
All right. But congratulations to them again. That'll be on September 6th, so help out if you can there too, because again, suicide prevention is such an important thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you guys know about Equine Dreams. I interviewed these guys like 20 years ago. They were working with handicapped children, and a wildest thing, you put a child on the horse backwards, a child with a speech impediment, they're able to speak better riding the horse backwards. How they ever figured that out, I don't know, but fascinating people to talk to. So they've been doing this for a long time. So they have the recently awarded $23,000 from the Northwestern Medicine Community Benefit Group grant to support construction of an accessible tack room. Donations will enhance the tack room safety, functionality, and inclusivity in the news release. But yeah, seeing these kids and hearing that story about these kids on the horses, what it does for them, just amazing. So,
and how they discovered the riding back.
Right, whoever figured that out? Somebody figured that out. That's the part I find so amazing. And a gentleman I just interviewed will be podcast number 24 coming up in a couple of weeks is Marshall Hendricks. He has started an organization here in DeKalb called Fathers of Faith, Inc. Now, we know a lot of fathers, a lot of families are single moms only, and he's working on that to get fathers more involved and has done so much in such a short period of time. And he's going to base the organization out of here at DeKalb here. but just trying to get fathers more involved. Now, you talked about your father moving to Sycamore in 1922, you said?
Moved to Sycamore when I was 10 years old in 1922, yes.
And you guys have, so you've been there over 100 years, you guys have been here.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's very true.
That is awesome. So,
Yeah.
did you dip your toe in the Kishwaukee River? You ever hear about that?
Oh, yes.
You dip your toe in the Kish, you always come back?
Yep, very much so.
Now, you had a chance to move. I have that somewhere in my notes. You had a chance to go work somewhere else, probably for some more money, and you didn't do that. Why didn't you do that, Marv?
It was just basically, it's maybe hard to understand, for some people to understand, it was just my love for Sycamore.
Okay.
I've always loved Sycamore, and had other opportunities, and just said, no, I'm not leaving Sycamore, and so, maybe I passed up some opportunities, but I never looked back, and I never regret what I did.
I love that. Now, you're a Rotarian. I had this. Somebody put together the life and times of Marvin Barnes and talked about your 40 years, again, with Sycamore Containers, being on the City Planning Commission as well, board president.
I'm not a member of Rotary. I was asked to come speak.
Oh, is that? Okay, so, you remember when they did the life and times of Marvin Barnes? But I was touched about your mom. My mom taught kindergarten for 30 years.
Yes.
And he says, he credits his lifelong outlook for always a ways to grow, and recounting learning lessons from mom, including saying please and thank you, taking turns. I have 4 brothers, so I know all about this. Yep. Wash your hands, and the one your favorite, take a daily nap, which I still do that to this day. But that's what we're really lacking right now is kids just learning those basic things, right?
And it's very, very, very true. There's a book I read a long time ago after my mom passed. Called Everything I Ever Leared. I learned in kindergarten.
Yes, I remember that book.
And it's so true. All the things you said, and on the back of I have a little business card, and on the back is a saying that my mother taught me when I was little, and I put it on my business card.
The world would be a boring place to live if we were all the same.
Yep,
I love that.
So she taught me that when I was young, and then when I had kids. Our kids, all of them, as we all know, personalities are different. Dan, you probably all 6 years. My mom sat me down and said, one of the things you got to learn is your kids are going to be different. And you have to be patient with it. You have to understand. And that's when she said the same thing as she taught me when I was little. The world would be a boring place if we were all the same.
I love that.
It's so true.
That is so true. That's great. And one other thing I want to mention too, and again, we're pressed on time because it's been so fascinating talking to you, is your time with the Kish Health System Hospice Board, because I've interviewed people that do hospice, and to me, there's nothing greater thing to do or more difficult thing to do. And tell us about your time in the hospice board.
Well, they were wonderful. My mother's last couple of years, she had degenerative heart disease, and she was, at the time, diagnosed that she would only probably live 6 months. She ended up living, and they put her under hospice, and she lived for 2 years. And my mother had a will to live and just refused to give in. And they were wonderful, and it reached a point where, my mother, they built their home on Meadow Lane, which she named Meadow Lane in Sycamore, as I told you earlier. Yeah. Her wish was always she wanted to die in her home.
Oh.
And hospice made that possible. They brought a hospital bed there. They had somebody come and take care of her every day, check on her. And so after she passed, I went through hospice. What can I do? And so I volunteered with some of their campaign money raising.
Okay.
Then they asked me to be on the board. And I said, absolutely. And then a couple of years after that, they asked me to be president. Okay. And I was. And until when Northwestern bought out Kish, that's for a little while, then they finally dissolved it. So that was a sad time for me. I hated to see that. I had hoped Northwestern would have kept it on.
Well, that's a great
it was
story.
so rewarding. I never regret that. And so hospice, I used to, when I was president, I would speak, and I still say today, hospice nurses, there's a special place in heaven for them.
Yes.
We're mortals. They're not. they're heaven sent. So,
We used to interview Jen Conley. You know Jen Conley and all. She used to
Yes.
play music for hospice patients.
She was one of the ones that was involved with DeKalb County Hospice.
Tremendous lady.
Oh,
Yeah. I
so
saw the
talented.
CD that she put together.
So talented.
Yeah. Wow, that's great, Marv, that you give back like that.
Thank you.
Taking a brief look at sports, of course, we got the big game, DeKalb and Sycamore, coming up next week there at Husky Stadium. And what a treat, huh, Marv, to be able to play at a Division I stadium like that? I mean,
It is.
What a
It
treat
is.
for both schools.
And always loved the DeKalb Sycamore rivalry. And to be able to play in a stadium like that. It's very exciting.
That's great. And I want to wish Derek Sheeman a good luck. They had Barb's 1-8 last year, had a tough, but they have a young man named Davon Grant. I don't know if you've seen this kid play. He's just an amazing, great basketball player, but a better football player. He was recruited last year, and sophomore he was recruited from the University of Illinois, and that's where he's going to go play next year. But just a tremendous talent, so he's going to be fun to watch. Then the Sycamore side, they lost most of their starters. Of course, Joe Ryan in his final season. Now, do you know Joe? We've talked before about what an exceptional guy Joe Ryan is. And
What I hear, I've never met him, but I certainly admire what he's done.
last year, DeKalb blew it at the end, and they lost to Sycamore 35-28. So this game coming up on August 29th. And on a sports-related note, the NAU Athletic Department and Penrose Brewing, I guess they're in Geneva, have created a Husky Seltzup, a cherry lime hard seltzer that's going to be sold at Husky Stadium and made right down the road here in Geneva. So
Very exciting.
I guess that's a pretty good idea, right? Because the Husky Athletic Department will get a percentage of sales,
exactly.
and that's a lot of people are drinking this stuff now. So.
I'm an NIU grad.
All right, so that works out perfect.
Many
Okay.
years ago.
Now, we also like to do read obits like we always used to do on the morning show. And Lucille Campbell, we want to mention Lucille. We just lost her. Now, my wife is from Sugar Grove. That's where Lucille, she was 98 years of age. She raised 3 children, William, Richard, and Gloria. An adventurous spirit, warm heart, and a vibrant personality. She brought joy and light to everyone she met, made a lasting impact to those lucky enough to know her. Master puzzle solver, bingo player, gifted baker, loved to try new things, lending a hand to those in need. She always was there to help. Her favorite restaurant, the Texas Roadhouse, a favorite place for her to go. A longtime member of the Grace United Methodist Church of Maple Park, where she found peace and strength in the community that she loved. And again, we like to read these, Mars, because you try to summarize somebody's life in a couple of paragraphs, but these are some pretty amazing people.
Yeah. Very much so.
To try to count like your mom, you have to write a book about her.
Thank you.
Now, we also like to do, like we always do, the news quiz. Dan will formulate a news quiz question. But I want to mention also that we do this date in history. Our friends at the DeKalb County History Center. We encourage you to check them out, DeKalbCountyHistory.org. Have you dragged the gang over there? Have you dragged the kids over there to the museum yet? That'll be on a must on the list.
Sycamore, right?
Yeah.
At
the old farm there? Yeah.
I believe they've been there. I wasn't with them.
Okay.
But
Yeah, just a tremendous job that they
It's
do over there.
fascinating.
Isn't it? I know. And Michelle Donahoe, she does such a tremendous job there.
I agree.
On this date, and Dan will ask the question, but I'll tell you, on this date in 1840, Sycamore was voted the county seat of DeKalb County, ending the grand struggle for the establishment of the county seat. The disagreement over which town, DeKalb or Sycamore, whether it should be located, lingered for 4 years since 1837. So, did you ever hear that story, Dan? Because I guess Elwood and some of the people here in DeKalb were going to throw some big money to build a courthouse here in DeKalb, and somehow they got in Sycamore. I don't know the whole story on that one, but
I remember reading the story, and I can't remember it now, but there was a book, or several books, but the latest book I read had to do with a railroad. It was something with a railroad also. But, the old saying was up forever, but the book kind of countered that, was that, Sycamore got the courthouse, DeKalb got NIU, but I don't think that was always been kind of the hearsay, but.
well, there's a great story about NIU. Where supposedly with the river running through campus there, they diked it up there for a couple days. So when the guy came to look at the campus, the water was flowing, and the guy said, "Oh, this is a slow day." Whatever it takes to get the campus.
Exactly, yeah.
And so what do you got? You're going to go for a news quiz there, and I'll read some birthdays.
T-Bone, what are you giving away?
Well, funny you should ask. I want to congratulate Angie. Angie Fabris was our winner last week, and she won not only two gift certificates to Pizza Villa, but she also won the lovely book from the farm tour. You ever go on the barn tour, Marv? You know about the barn tour?
I see it every year, and I have never that's a goal.
All right, so that's on a goal, right? But yeah, she won the book for that, so congratulations to Angie. So now we just have we have 2 gift certificates to Pizza Villa when you play the podcast news program. Work on that.
A green energy company is taking advantage of state tax incentives to expand its manufacturing headquarters in Kane County. What is the name of the company?
All right, you tell us the name of that company. You contact me at tdryan2001@yahoo.com, tdryan2001@yahoo.com. I will send you 2 gift certificates of Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more. You can't go wrong when you go to Pizza Villa. Some birthdays coming up. We have Carlene Estrada will have a birthday on the 26th in Sycamore. Anniversary, Tim and Brenda Weaver in Sycamore will have celebrate 37 years on August 27th. Olivia Weaver will have a birthday in Oregon on the 29th. And Brandy Stockwell Reynolds of Serena will have a birthday on the 29th. So happy birthday to those folks. And we're going to have to open the door, I'm afraid. You probably know this gentleman, Marvin. It's the unofficial mayor of DeKalb, Shadow Gentry, stopping by. I told Shadow to come by next week, but all right, come by real quick. We're going to talk to Shadow real quick, and then we'll wrap things up with Marvin Barnes, again, the Third Ward Alderman. Marv, it's been such a pleasure having you here to learn about you. You didn't know I did a little research on you.
Yeah, no, you caught me off guard.
But
Thank you.
I want to thank you for all that you've given back to Sycamore. Now, I told you to come next week, Shadow, but what do you want to tell the folks? What are you here to talk about?
I'm here to talk about the Tom Zucker Memorial Golf Outing on September the 29th, 11 o'clock a.m. at the Kishwaukee Country Club.
Okay, so 11 o'clock on the 29th. And do we know how we can get tickets for that? What's the best way to do that? Do we know?
Well, you might have to contact Tammy Loving at DKVAC.com.
Okay, DKVAC.com. Okay, and the golf tournament is when again now?
The 29th, September 29th, Monday, September 29th, 11 o'clock is the lunch, and then 11:30 is the shotgun.
All right, very good. All right, thank you, Shadow. Thanks for stopping by for that.
Yeah.
Did you know Mr. Zucker? Did you know the gentleman?
Yes.
Tell us about him real quick.
He was the executive director of the Voluntary Action Center for many, many years.
Okay, and I see you got your volunteer action shirt on today, huh?
And then he came to cancer.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for that, Shadow. We appreciate you stopping by. We got to kick you out of here because we only got so much room in here, all right?
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
When you mean next week?
Yeah, next Thursday is when I want you to come, okay?
Okay.
All right, buddy.
I mean, to request the day off?
Yeah, if you need to do it. All right. Thanks, Shadow. Shadow works over at Hy-Vee, of course, and he's going to helping us for our Freezing for Food campaign. Shadow will help us get the location there.
He's going to get you more detail.
All right, thank you, my friend. Shadow, the unofficial mayor of DeKalb, stopping by. Well, again, you will eventually be mayor. We know that just the way, if that's the way to come from our terms. But I think it's such a great story that you promised Red and then promised Mayor Mundy that you'd run for mayor. But you said being an alderman, you're fulfilling that dream, aren't you?
Yes, I am. It's very rewarding, very humbling. When you think back, the responsibility you carry. So, yes, it's just one of those internal things of myself that's a payback to the community I love. So, yes.
And you say people are almost surprised at just your passion for Sycamore. I mean, it's great that you have that.
Yeah.
I was born in Lincolnwood now. I'll call DeKalb my home, but I know 70% of people live within 100 miles of where they were born.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems to work out that way. But your passion for your hometown, it really comes through.
Thank you. Yeah, my wife is originally from DeKalb.
Okay.
And we're together in Sycamore. We raised 4 boys, and all 4 boys always comment about the education and the wonderful life they lived growing up in Sycamore. But all of them have moved elsewhere around the country.
All right. Well, make sure they get their toe dipped in the dish, and they'll be back.
They did. I made sure all of them, when they were young, they did. All of them did that. So,
We almost lost Dan and his family. We're so glad that his family wanted to stay here in DeKalb, but
Yes.
we're so glad to have you still here, Dan. So we appreciate that, buddy.
You mean chasing a paycheck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he almost took a gig at another radio station, but the kids love DeKalb, so it's wonderful that they want to stay here. That's great.
Yeah.
We thank you.
Yeah, no, it's an honor, and thanks for all the support over the years, Marvin.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we really appreciate
both
that.
of you.
Again, we want to thank Ethan Davis, my nephew, for making all this happen, because I don't know what I'm doing. All our wonderful sponsors, we want to thank them. And Marv, we'll give you the last word here. I know a lot of people from Sycamore are listening. I know you speak at city council meetings and stuff, but what would you like to say to the people of Sycamore right now?
Well, to the people in Sycamore, I hope it's a throwback to both of you. In that I know so many people listen to both of you at WWK, and I'm thrilled that you're doing this. I hope it expands. I think I remember reading recently, there's an opportunity to maybe expand it even further. And I hope it does. I hope it continues to grow because our community needs both of you. And so if I can represent not only Sycamore, but our community, we all say thank you to both of you.
Wow, I didn't know we were going to get plugged on that, Dan. That worked out pretty good. Well, that's Marvin Barnes, Third World Element, Sycamore. Dan, as always, thank you for your time and your efforts. We appreciate it. And that's News Podcast number 12, TD Ryan Unleashed. TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy, business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Elder Care Services of DeKalb County, safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdecalb.org.